Imagine waking up one morning, preparing yourself a cup of coffee, and suddenly finding you can't recall the name of the old friend you talked with just yesterday. You see the face in your mind, but the name escapes you. At first, you brush it off as a normal lapse of memory. But as weeks pass, you start forgetting little things more frequently. Where you placed your keys, the title of your favorite book, a close relative's birthday. It feels like there's a slow fog settling over your mind. This is a frightening experience for anyone, but especially for those of us who've crossed 75 and want to protect our independence, our sense of self, and our cherished memories. For many older adults, mental sharpness isn't just about memory games or crossword puzzles. It's about retaining the ability to enjoy a conversation with your grandchildren, to recall the joys of past holidays, and to maintain control over daily decisions that help you feel in charge of your own life. Yet there's a lurking set of mistakes many seniors unknowingly make, behaviors and mindsets that can quietly chip away at cognitive function. The consequences can be profound. Losing the ability to think clearly isn't just about forgetting appointments. It could mean depending on others for even the simplest tasks. No one wants to become a burden or lose the richness of life because of mental decline that might have been preventable. Today, we'll look closely at 5 specific cognitive mistakes that often sneak up on us after 75, quietly accelerating brain aging. You'll learn how to recognize these pitfalls and take straightforward steps to safeguard your mind. By the end of this journey, you'll see how small changes in daily habits, beliefs, and routines can help keep your brain vibrant. In fact, the final point we'll discuss is something most seniors never even consider, yet it can be a game changer for preserving your memory and overall cognitive health. These insights aren't based on mere opinion. Scientists and aging experts have studied seniors around the globe, looking for patterns that predict either decline or vitality in the later years. There's a growing body of evidence that points to specific habits and beliefs we adopt after 75 that dramatically influence whether our minds stay sharp or become hazy. My goal is to present this information as clearly as possible so you can take immediate action to protect what truly matters: your independence, your memories, and the respect that comes from being able to make your own choices. Before we dive in, I encourage you to stay engaged. If you haven't already, subscribing to this channel and turning on your notifications will ensure you don't miss any future videos that could help you or someone you care about. And if you find these insights valuable, please let me know by typing 1 in the comments. If you feel otherwise, type 0, and I'll do my best to improve. Your feedback genuinely matters because it helps shape content that can make a meaningful difference in your life. Let's begin by exploring the first cognitive mistake that often creeps in without warning. It's something most seniors do innocently, but the truth behind it might surprise you. Mistake number 1 often hides behind a common misconception. If something feels too challenging or new, it's best to avoid it at my age. It sounds logical. After all, when you're in your late 70s or beyond, taking on brand new tasks like learning a smartphone feature or picking up a new hobby can be intimidating. Most people believe that if you haven't mastered it by now, why start? The brain is older, it's not as quick, and learning something radically new might even feel embarrassing if you struggle in front of others. But let's push back on this notion for a moment. In reality, the brain at 75 or 80 still retains a phenomenal ability to adapt. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. While it's true that our brains change with age, they never completely lose the capacity to form new connections. Indeed, learning something new is like giving your brain a robust workout. It's an essential exercise that keeps neural pathways alive and active. Think of it like staying physically fit. You don't stop walking or stretching just because you turn 75. The same is true for your mind. It needs stimulation, not retreat. Consider a remarkable individual named Frank, who decided at 79 to learn how to play the piano. He had never touched a keyboard before, and at first it felt awkward. Frank worried he'd be the laughingstock of his retirement community if he couldn't even plunk out a simple tune. Yet after 4 months of daily practice, Frank discovered more than just a few melodies. He reported feeling mentally sharper, more focused, and less anxious. He even noted improvements in his everyday memory, like remembering grocery lists without needing a written note. Frank's story shows that starting a new skill can rekindle mental energy we didn't realize we still had. There's a powerful slogan that sums this up. If it challenges you, it changes you. That slight discomfort we feel when we tackle something unfamiliar is actually our brain forging new pathways. And this doesn't just apply to learning a musical instrument. It could be trying a new craft, experimenting with digital tools, or even tackling more complex tasks like playing strategy games with a friend. The key is to steer away from the myth that an older brain should settle into familiar routines and avoid new territory. By introducing daily brain exercises, like learning 10 new words in a foreign language or practicing a different hand position on your keyboard, you fuel mental agility. It might feel demanding at first, but that's exactly what keeps your neurons engaged. Start small. Maybe learn one new function on your smartphone each week or join a workshop on creative writing. Every step you take to expand your mental horizons acts like a protective barrier against cognitive decline. One of the greatest emotional benefits here is confidence. When you prove to yourself that you can still master unfamiliar tasks, you feel empowered. That sense of accomplishment spills over into other areas of life, making it easier to adapt to new challenges, whether it's health-related changes or navigating social settings. Imagine feeling excited rather than fearful when facing something you've never done before. It's a shift that brings renewed zest for life, proving that growth doesn't have an expiration date. Now that we've uncovered the first mistake, resisting new mental challenges, let's move on to the second mistake, which involves an assumption many of us have been conditioned to accept for decades. Mistake number 2 is the belief that forgetfulness is just part of getting older, so there's nothing I can do about it. At first glance, it seems harmless to chalk up every memory lapse to age. After all, you might think you've earned the right to forget a name or two after living so many years. But here's the catch. Repeatedly telling yourself that these lapses are inevitable can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your brain starts to accept decline as normal, and you might subconsciously stop putting in the effort to stay mentally active. A lot of seniors find themselves slipping into negative self-talk whenever they lose their train of thought. Oh, I'm old and forgetful. That's just how it is. This kind of thinking is dangerous because it dampens motivation to seek solutions, whether those are brain-boosting activities, social engagement, or even professional guidance. The truth? While aging can bring natural changes, plenty of research shows that how we use our brains plays a crucial role in preserving mental clarity. Just as a muscle weakens without exercise, a mind that isn't challenged is more prone to decline. Take Cynthia, for example, a 77-year-old retired librarian. She began to notice she couldn't recall what she had read an hour ago and often misplaced her reading glasses. Initially, she dismissed it as standard aging. Then a friend recommended she join a virtual book club where members would discuss the week's reading in depth. The group encouraged her to take notes and share detailed opinions. Within 2 months, Cynthia noticed that not only was she retaining more information, but her daily forgetfulness began to subside. The difference was in her mental engagement. Once she stopped blaming her age and started interacting with challenging discussions, her brain responded with renewed vigor. The misconception that forgetfulness is unavoidable leads many seniors to give up on mental exercises or even skip important medical checkups that could identify treatable causes of memory lapses. And that's what's truly dangerous. Letting your guard down. Sometimes forgetfulness can be linked to medication interactions, vitamin deficiencies, or manageable conditions like anxiety or depression. Accepting cognitive decline as inevitable can mask these underlying issues, leaving them unaddressed. The surprising insight here is that a significant portion of so-called age-related memory decline can be slowed or even reversed by refusing to accept it passively. Instead of shrugging off your next lapse, use it as a signal. Ask yourself, what can I change or improve in my daily routine to stay sharp? It might be as simple as adding a short walk to get your blood flowing before tackling a mentally demanding task, or as involved as learning memory recall techniques from a local course or an online resource. A practical step you can take immediately is to set up daily memory checkpoints. For instance, take a moment to recall your plans for the day after you wake up. Later, recount what you accomplished and how it felt. These quick reflections train your brain to pay attention and consolidate information. The emotional payoff is huge. Instead of feeling like life is slipping away, you regain the sense of control that comes from actively nurturing your mind. If you've stayed with me through these first 2 points, I'd love to hear from you. Please type 2 in the comments to let me know you're still here and finding this information helpful. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. Your support helps keep this community thriving and informed. With that, let's dig into the third mistake, one that's surprisingly common and may be impacting your cognitive function more than you realize. Mistake number 3 revolves around isolating yourself socially and believing it won't affect your mind. It's understandable. Perhaps you've lost contact with friends who've passed away or moved to be closer to their families. Maybe physical limitations make it harder to go out and socialize. Over time, you might grow accustomed to spending days with minimal human interaction, aside from the occasional phone call. And because you're not alone in having these limitations, it's easy to think this is normal and harmless. Here's the stark reality. Social isolation isn't just a lonely experience. It can be toxic to brain health. When you miss out on regular conversation, emotional connection, and intellectual exchange, your brain receives fewer stimuli to keep it in top shape. Interactions, even simple ones, like a friendly debate over the news or discussing a new recipe, create a mental workout. They force you to listen, process new information, and respond thoughtfully. Without these interactions, some areas of the brain can become underused, accelerating cognitive decline. Dr. Marie, an unnamed specialist who has spent decades studying aging populations, observes that seniors who engage in community activities, whether volunteering or participating in group classes, often exhibit better mental resilience. Social connections act like scaffolding, supporting your cognitive processes by continually introducing new ideas, challenges, and experiences. It's not about being the life of the party. Even quiet, meaningful interactions can spark enough stimulation to keep the mind agile. Consider Hector, 82, who lives on a quiet street where most neighbors are much younger. For years, he barely spoke to anyone, convincing himself he had nothing in common with them. His daily routine involved watching television alone, occasionally stepping out for groceries, then returning to an empty house. Over time, he started to notice more senior moments, like forgetting where he placed his wallet or losing track of dates. Feeling worried, he joined a local gardening club after a neighbor's suggestion. Every weekend, members gathered to share tips on growing flowers and vegetables, and Hector found himself asking questions, offering opinions, and trading jokes. Within 3 months, he reported feeling more mentally alert and discovered he was making fewer memory errors. Even his mood improved significantly. So the misconception is that being alone and peaceful is somehow unproblematic for the mind. In reality, too much solitude robs the brain of vital stimulation. It's like keeping a high-performance engine running on idle for too long. It begins to sputter. The surprising truth is that you don't need a large circle of friends or constant outings to counteract this effect. Even smaller, more consistent interactions can provide enough variety and complexity to keep your brain engaged. A practical tip is to structure at least one meaningful social interaction into your week. This can be as simple as scheduling a video call with a friend or relative where you share updates or discuss a topic in depth. You might also explore senior community events. Many libraries offer free clubs, lectures, or workshops tailored to older adults. The emotional reward of connecting with others often extends beyond improved mental sharpness. It can alleviate loneliness and provide a sense of belonging. When you embrace this social aspect, you're not just warding off mental decline, you're also reinforcing the value of your own experiences and stories. People need to hear your wisdom. By stepping back into social circles, you'll find you still have much to contribute, and that purposefulness can light up your mind. Next, we'll explore the fourth mistake that can quietly erode cognitive abilities if left unchecked. Mistake number 4 is believing that physical exercise is optional for brain health. Everyone knows exercise helps maintain muscle, balance, and cardiovascular function. Yet many seniors think, at my age, heavy workouts or daily walks might be too strenuous, so I'll just skip it. This mindset often stems from fear of injury, fatigue, or the notion that fitness routines are only for younger folks. But here's a counterintuitive truth. Regular movement doesn't just keep your body in shape, it's a powerful catalyst for mental clarity. You don't have to run marathons or lift heavy weights. What matters is getting your blood flowing, which delivers oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Studies carried out over years with thousands of participants repeatedly show that seniors who engage in consistent, moderate exercise perform better on memory and cognition tests. It's not magic, it's biology. Blood flow helps nourish brain cells and supports the growth of new neural connections. Sedentary behavior, on the other hand, can contribute to mental sluggishness and accelerate age-related decline. Look at Harriet, 76, who started experiencing anxiety and mild depression after her husband passed away. She found herself barely leaving the couch, watching TV for hours. Over time, her memory and focus waned. With encouragement, she began a gentle stretching and walking routine. Just 15 minutes around the block in the morning and some chair exercises in the afternoon. 3 months later, Harriet reported sharper thinking and a noticeable lift in her mood. She also found she slept better at night, which in turn further supported her memory and energy levels. The key was consistency, not intensity. This flies in the face of the misconception that resting more will somehow preserve your limited energy. In fact, staying too still can lock you in a cycle of fatigue and mental fog. The use it or lose it principle applies not just to muscles, but to cognitive function as well. The surprising insight: even if you need a walker or have mobility issues, any mild form of movement, such as seated exercises, gentle tai chi, or water aerobics, can significantly benefit your brain. To put this into practice, find a routine that suits your physical abilities and stick with it. If you're concerned about safety, consult with a healthcare provider to create a tailored plan. Maybe it's a slow walk in the local park twice a week, supplemented by brief standing stretches at home. The emotional reward? Regaining control over your body leads to renewed self-confidence, and that positivity can spill over into how you tackle mental challenges. Instead of feeling powerless, you'll sense that you're actively investing in your well-being. If you're still watching and appreciating these points, let me know by typing 4 in the comments. Remember, each small action you take to stay engaged, like commenting or subscribing, helps build a community of seniors who support and learn from each other. Now let's head into the 5th and final mistake, one that many people overlook but can have a huge impact on cognitive vitality. Mistake number 5 might surprise you: ignoring the role of proper sleep hygiene and stress management in cognitive health. We often hear, "I'm 80, I nap whenever I want, and I don't really care about bedtime routines." Or perhaps there's a belief that insomnia or poor sleep is just an inevitable part of aging. But poor sleep, along with unmanaged stress, can significantly age your brain faster than almost any other factor. When you're sleep deprived, your brain struggles to clear out toxins that build up during waking hours. Over time, these toxins can interfere with your ability to form new memories and think clearly. Chronic stress, meanwhile, floods your body with hormones like cortisol, which in excess can damage brain cells. Combined, these two factors create a lethal cocktail for mental decline if they're never addressed. Marjorie, 78, used to brag that she could get by on just 5 hours of sleep and a couple of afternoon naps. Gradually, she noticed her reactions slowed, and she had trouble recalling conversations from the previous day. She also felt anxious and irritable without knowing why. Her doctor recommended a more consistent sleep schedule, going to bed at the same time every night, avoiding caffeine late in the day, and limiting screen time an hour before bed. Within weeks, Marjorie felt more alert, remembered tasks with less effort, and noticed her overall stress levels decreasing. The difference was profound. The misconception is that you don't need a structured sleep routine in later life. In fact, routines might be even more important. Setting a regular bedtime, creating a calming wind-down ritual, and managing stress through methods like meditation or light yoga can all help keep your brain healthy. Doing so also helps stabilize your mood, which makes it easier to stay socially active and motivated to engage in the mental exercises we discussed earlier. The surprising reality is that genuine rest, coupled with relaxation techniques, can rejuvenate the mind in ways that surpass even strong coffee or quick fixes. Try simple steps. Turn off the TV or tablet an hour before bed, listen to soft music or an audiobook, and practice slow, deep breathing to calm racing thoughts. When stress feels overwhelming, engage in activities like gentle stretches, a warm bath, or even journaling your worries. These strategies might sound basic, but their effect on your cognitive well-being can be transformative, especially when done consistently. The emotional gain is a profound sense of peace and mental clarity. Waking up refreshed rather than groggy sets a positive tone for the whole day. You'll notice it in small ways, finding words more easily in conversations, recalling names you used to forget, and tackling daily tasks with more confidence. Maintaining good sleep and managing stress helps protect your future independence, because clarity of mind remains one of the most critical factors for making informed decisions about your life and health. Each of these 5 mistakes, resisting new mental challenges, accepting forgetfulness as inevitable, isolating socially, skipping physical exercise, and neglecting sleep and stress management, contributes to faster cognitive decline. Yet by recognizing and correcting them, you create a blueprint for a sharper mind, even as the years advance. Now, as we come to the end of our exploration, take a moment to let these ideas sink in. Think about how different your life could look in just a few months if you commit to addressing these issues. Picture feeling more alert, more capable of recalling names and details, and more at ease with daily tasks. Imagine the relief of knowing you've taken proactive steps to avoid the slow slide into confusion or dependence that so many people dread. This is within your reach, and every day is a new opportunity to start fresh. Which of these 5 points resonates most strongly with you? Is it the idea of challenging your brain with something new, refusing to settle for inevitable forgetfulness, reaching out to friends or community groups, incorporating gentle movement into your routine, or finally establishing a consistent sleep schedule? Identifying where you stand right now is the first step. Then make a clear plan for change. For instance, if social isolation has been a struggle, commit to calling one friend or relative each week, or explore a local club that sparks your interest. If poor sleep is an issue, remove screens from your bedroom and try a calming beverage before bed. Before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which strategy are you planning to implement first, and why? Your response might inspire another viewer who's facing a similar challenge. And if you found even one helpful tip today, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. When you share or leave a comment, you become part of a supportive circle, helping other seniors discover knowledge that could improve their well-being. Your engagement and willingness to learn is what keeps this conversation alive, not just for you, but for countless others who may be searching for hope and guidance. By making even one small change in your routine, you can take control of your cognitive health and steer your life in a more vibrant direction. Aging is inevitable, but losing your precious memories and sharpness doesn't have to be. Thank you for spending time with me here. Remember, you hold the power to protect and nurture your mind. Stay curious, stay proactive, and never underestimate the strength you have to shape your future. I can't wait to hear how these insights transform your life. Keep believing in your potential, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.